Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new game news roundup. Well, like in the last couple of videos, we're going to continue discussing Sony and the PlayStation, the future of PlayStation. Let's get into the quotes, and then we can discuss things a little bit more thoroughly. Sony CFO Lin Tao in the company's earnings summary webcast stated the PS5 is in the middle of its life cycle. So, exact quote here. There are many active users enjoying the console, referring to PS5. So from that perspective, we believe that the PS5 is only in the middle of the journey, and we are really planning to expand it even further. Middle of the journey. If it's exactly halfway through. Yeah, the PS5, if you don't know, released 5 years ago. I know. Crazy to think, right? But it came out in November 2020. If it's in the middle of the journey, you might think, oh, does that mean Sony's going to really hold off on the PlayStation 6 for another 5 years and not release the PlayStation 6 until 2030? Probably not. Unlikely. I mean, I guess technically it's not impossible, but 10 years to the next generation, I'm pretty sure that's fairly unheard of, unless you want to count, you know, the Game Boy Advance compared to the Game Boy, because that was well over a decade between that. But that was a handheld, and that was the 90s to when did the Game Boy Advance come out? 2000? 2001? Something like that. I don't see the PS6 not coming out until 2030. While she does say yes, it's in the middle of its life cycle. It just might mean, yes, they're going to support it for another 5 years. They're going to support it even once the PS6 comes out. Because if you remember, they would still release several games on the PlayStation 4 even once the PS5 came out, even for up to a few years. You know, God of War Ragnarok came out on the PS4. Gran Turismo came out on the PS4. You know, a lot of PS5 games were also available on the PS4. And even, you look at, you know, first-party game obviously didn't come out as a first-party game, but Destiny 2 is still playable on the PlayStation 4, if I recall correctly. And a bunch of other games. And heck, obviously, third-party games are still coming out on the PlayStation 4, even if Sony, I don't think they are really releasing any games on the PS4 anymore, unless MLB The Show, I'm not 100% sure on that, is still coming out on the PlayStation 4, but otherwise, they have moved on. But despite the PS5 coming out in November 2020, they did release games on the PS4 for another 2 to 3 years afterwards. So that could be what they mean. They'll keep releasing games on the PS5 through 2030, give or take. Well, the PS6 might come out 2027, 2028. Those are the most likely years. From the PS4 to the PS5, there was 7 years between the two launches. I think the same with the PS3 to PS4, it was 7 years. So 7 years seems to be the norm, give or take, of the last couple generations between when one generation comes out and then the successor console comes out. Seems about 7 years, which, if it's 7 years, that would be 2027 for the PS6. But with how slow things started and how things are going with this generation, Sony, maybe they'll hold off to 2028. I don't really personally see anything longer than that, which I guess it is possible. It is certainly a possibility. So yeah, the PS5 released 5 years ago, November 2020. However, that does not mean the PS6 will launch in 2030. Tao could mean Sony plans to keep producing and they might keep producing and selling the PS5 until 2030. Even though, while the PS6 could launch in 2027 or 28. Or she could just mean Sony plans to support the PS5 with software until at least 2030, even if they stop selling the console sooner, you know, stop producing it. Even once Sony stops producing, you know, the PS5, there'll still be units on shelves for many months, maybe even a year or two after that, with very limited stock still available in certain places, potentially. So yeah, and as I mentioned here in the article, there was a long transition from the PS5 to the PS4 with Sony releasing first-party games on the PS4 several years after the PS5 came out, and other publishers and developers are still releasing games on the PS4 to this day. Like Call of Duty Black Ops 7 will be coming out on the PS4 and Xbox One, and oddly enough, not the Switch 2, considering that it's more powerful than the PS4 and Xbox One, at least a little bit. And they did sign a deal with Nintendo to start releasing Call of Duty on Nintendo consoles, but who knows when that'll happen? Maybe it'll be next year's. Maybe it'll be whatever 2026 Call of Duty's. Anyways, that's me going off on a tangent here, but it's thought I'd mention here, like, when is the PS6 coming out? Obviously, the obvious answer is we don't know. We have no idea, but given history, holiday 2027 would be the soonest, the earliest we would see a PS6 Maybe 2020. Those are the most likely is somewhere between holiday 2027 to holiday 2028. Most likely. I mean, maybe they'll hold it off a bit longer, depending on how much more powerful they want. Also, how much they can charge for the PS6. When you think, okay, the PS5, at least in the US, is $500 for the digital edition, $550 for the edition with a disc drive. But then you got the PlayStation 5 Pro, which is $750 now. Which you think, okay, if that's $750, the PS6, that you'd want to at least be a bit more powerful than that. How much are they going to charge for the PS6? $600? Maybe best case scenario, it feels like at this point. I guess you never know. Unless it's not that much more powerful than the current generation. It's possible. We'll see what the next generation holds up. There's also rumors that Sony's working on a handheld version of the PlayStation 5 that might come out in a bunch of years. Who knows? Rumors, stories. Insiders might get information, but obviously they might get information for certain things, but things might change. Plans change. I don't think Xbox was planning to release all their games on PlayStation the start of this generation, but now they are releasing all their games on PlayStation. If you look at console sales, well, kind of need to if they want to sell their games as much as they want. I mean, the more games they sell, the more money they make, the more they can invest into releasing other games. That's probably the main reason. Versus they sell Xbox consoles at a loss, or at least they did before the two price increases that they made in the US this year. So yeah, when do you think the PlayStation 6 is going to come out? Do you think, is it too early to think about the PlayStation 6? Because it feels like the PS5 just came out. We know it's been 5 years. Yeah, possibly. It's possibly it feels like, okay, where are they going? Already? Too soon. It's true. It's true. We'll see. And also, when the PS6 comes out, will you buy one at launch? Have you even upgraded to the PS5? There's still tens of millions of people gaming on the PS4 and Xbox One who have yet to spend the money to upgrade to a PS5 or Xbox Series X or S, or even a a powerful enough PC. Which you can get a half-decent PC for, $800 to $1,000. Now, obviously, depending on if you need monitors, or, keyboard and mouse and all that stuff. But if you just need to get the tower with the parts, you can get a half-decent one. Maybe for $800 is the cheapest. If you're lucky, decent sales, maybe up to $1,000, $1,200. But anyways, when do you think the PS6 is going to come out? Let me know in the comment section down below. That's enough of me rambling. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe for some more gaming news, gaming sales, gaming industry information, and maybe some random gaming Let's Play videos from my Twitch streams. And also, yes, I do stream on Twitch if you want to check that out. Twitch.tv/TrunksWD, where I do go over gaming news, as well as any gaming showcases, any major gaming showcases. We'll generally watch that live together with viewers. So if you want to check that out, feel free. Link below in the description. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you all next time.